So Chavez finishes up in like 2012, 2013?
2013, yes.
And then after that we get Maduro.
Yes.
So what do you think about Maduro? What do you think have been the key points in his leadership?
Yes, so just to give you a bit of a background of Maduro, of who he is and how did he become this extremely powerful person within the government. He's a very recent person in that moment. In fact, he has no political ties to anyone outside of just Chavez. He was just his chauffeur. He was originally a bus driver.
His chauffeur?
Yeah. He was originally a bus driver, worked in Venezuela for a while, and then became the personal chauffeur of Chavez. True that, and you have, exactly.
It's like when you simplify it in a sentence, it's that your current dictator was a chauffeur.
Yeah.
Like we talk a lot about in the West about qualifications.
Yes, and that's something against him. And I'm not saying by any means that a degree makes you qualify or not.
Of course.
And that your life experiences, whatever they might be, make you unable to do that. But this is something very important to note, because in the same way that when I started talking about Chavez, despite the fact that I vehemently disagree with it, that I blame him for a lot of the policies that went wrong in my country, and I had to flee my country for fear of death because of him, I think that I would still give him the credit that he was an amazing tactician, a wonderful politician, and an extremely charismatic leader. Now, all those qualifiers that Chavez had, they are non-existent with Maduro. While Maduro was just his second in command, the only reason that he became his second in command is because with the paranoia that Chavez had, and the fact that the rampant corruption made it so that there was essentially a struggle of power, akin to, if any of you did studies in Germany Nazi, Hitler had this strategy of whatever the hell he thought it was a good idea, of giving tactics and giving tasks to multiple people, and then force them to compete and see which one came up with the best solution, and then grab that person and the other to be scrapped. Because of that sort of perception of like, we need to survive in order to stay in power, Chavez did a similar thing with his cabinet and the people in command. And the only reason why Maduro stood ahead is because the other person that could have taken his place, which his name is Diosdado Cabello, a horrifying individual, extremely corrupt, highly searched in the whole world. There's a bunch of different arrest warrants of his name because of connections with international crime and narco traffic. Horrifying person. The only reason why he didn't become the president is because honestly Chavez didn't trust him. And Maduro was this just person that didn't understand anything but followed him to the letter. And adored him almost like an idol. Like, in fact, this is not an uncommon thing to do. People, both within the government and people that still believe in Chavez, would call him, what's it? Galactic leader, because he passed away.
Right.
Yeah, like this is the level of adoration that Chavez had behind him. And Maduro only became president because he just followed that church of Chavez, to the point where he at some point in time, just after he became elected, and this is in national television, he said in a national television broadcast that he had been visited by the spirit of Chavez in the form of a bird and told him that he was doing God's work. This is Maduro, and obviously, based on the description that I have given you, he has little to no understanding or knowledge as to how to run a country, but the only thing that he follows is, well, Chavez did that, so I'll continue to do that. Now, Chavez only could get away with that because he knew what he was doing to an extent, and because we had the oil prices. However, after 20 years of not putting money into the infrastructure, after selling a lot of it, and after a lot of that money going into corruption, we went from being able to export 3-4 billion barrels a day to only, as of this year, only being able to export about 1% of our capacity, because just our refineries and our refineries are just destroyed and in disrepair, and we don't own any more extraction sites because they have been given to international communities.
Which ones?
Transnational corporations. The whole of the delta of the Amazon, which is where a lot of the oil is found, there's about 4 or 5 transnational corporations that have no connections to Venezuela, that extract the oil and they sell it back to the government.